Let's talk now about the disappearance and apparent murder of soldier Vanessa Guillen. It's been more than 2 months since she disappeared from the Fort Hood military base in Texas, and it has been a very long wait for her family and those who love her to find out more information. But all the information that has come since then has unfortunately just added layer of tragedy upon tragedy. In the months since the disappearance, the investigation that was conducted turned up little. So her family actually had to get involved, saying she'd been sexually harassed in the months before on the base. Obviously, that's something that seems important when a woman has disappeared. So they retained a lawyer trying to keep her story in the national spotlight. We have on Tuesday of this week, the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command said in a statement that agents who had returned to an area of interest found what had been described as partial human remains after analysis from a forensic anthropologist. Investigators have yet to determine the identity of the body and said that due to the ongoing criminal investigation, no further information will be released at this time. Although, from a statement from the family and their attorney, they believe that this was Vanessa that was found. I want to read just a section of that statement from the family attorney saying, "Our hearts are broken. We feel pain, frustration, and devastation. This shouldn't have happened. If this could happen to Vanessa, this can happen to any one of our sisters, daughters, and mothers." And so that was tragic. Then we have another development with a soldier who'd been suspected potentially in the disappearance, killing himself after police confronted him. This is just yesterday we found out about it. And Texas Rangers have arrested another civilian suspect in connection with Guillen's disappearance. So you have one killing himself and then one being taken into custody. We have a bit more of the historical context of this, but this is sort of how the big parts of the case have developed, Jason.
Devastation and frustration and sadness. I echo those sentiments of the family, because this is the horrible thing to have to go through. Like they're trying to identify a body. They don't know if it's her. And it's just, again, the word I use, I've been using the word trauma a lot, but all those things are very traumatizing. And I think this speaks to a conversation and things that have been reported throughout the years in regards to the environment in the armed forces when it comes to women. This isn't the first time people have been speaking out about mistreatment, sexual harassment, rape, a myriad of different not unfavorable acts within the armed forces when it comes to women. And they are right. This could, if the family doesn't keep this in the public conversation, much like justice for Breonna Taylor, we move on so quickly in a news cycle. We move on so quickly via social media. We move on so quickly via the news that justice sometimes is elusive because we aren't giving enough energy to keeping the conversation going. So I'm glad that they retained an attorney. I'm glad that the family's taking it into their own hands to get justice for their family member. They have to. Now in 2020, that's the only way you can get anything done, unfortunately, because our justice system just isn't as effective as it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine going months and not knowing for sure. I mean, finally getting what is likely, this terrible news that they found the body, because you were probably still holding out at least some hope that hypothetically she could still be alive. A small hope, but still a hope. And then to have this soldier kill himself, potentially having had information about it, that's going to be devastating too. Now, they did arrest someone. We have no idea if they will have been involved, have any information, but I want to give the audience just a little bit more of the background of what some of the family thinks might have played into this. In mid-June, their lawyer said she had turned up 2 alleged incidents of sexual harassment towards Guillen at the base. In one case, a superior allegedly walked in on Guillen while she was showering. In the other, a colleague made vulgar remarks to her in Spanish. According to the lawyer, Guillen had told several people that she was afraid to report the alleged incidents. And the family is saying that I guess no one is shocked that the military isn't taking seriously sexual harassment and sexual assault against female soldiers. That has been the story of the military for decades. Right. But they want something done about it. They want legislation. They'd like it to be named after her, for the military to finally take this seriously. And maybe, like, to your point about the trauma, maybe that, if it happens, could be a part of the healing, that justice has been evaded for literally months at this point, but if they can help to stop other incidents like this happening, that might give them a little bit of closure.
I mean, I would hope and I would pray that it would. Much like what we're seeing with Black Lives Matter. And I'm not trying to equate the two as far as the importance, because they're equally important in their own entities. But just the way the reckoning that it's happening within society when it comes to things of this nature, I absolutely think that the family needs to do whatever they can, and I know they are, to, yes, have a bill passed named after her. Have a library named after her. Have a whole policy in the armed forces training handbook or manual or anything of that nature named after her. Because things, until you take those types of steps, and even those steps, John, are not enough.
Yeah,
nothing will ever be enough. Nothing can ever replace a human life. Nothing can ever replace the death of a loved one. Nothing will ever make that okay. But the silver lining is, if you can stop this from happening going forward, if you can draw awareness and enact change in an institution that has been very, very staunch and ironclad of not changing, then for all it's worth, that is a minor win that could yield so many valuable dividends down the line.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And, thank you to the comments pointing out, I'd actually forgotten the second person that was arrested is a woman. Some people are saying it's potentially the girlfriend or the wife of the person who had killed themselves, or at least another soldier. The information that I found in my research was very mixed. So we'll see. I know that, by the way, I believe right now, the family and their lawyer are having a press conference about some of the recent developments. So, we'll be checking on that for future broadcasts. And, I just want to add this on both as part of the conversation about the way that the military has treated its female soldiers. And also, potentially, there have been allegations that this could have played into the story. All of this, as far as I know, is speculation. But, back a number of years ago, TYT reported on this story. Female Fort Hood soldiers were recruited for a prostitution ring. And eventually there were multiple charges filed about this. This is the same base, and it was just a few years ago. They need to take the safety of their soldiers far more seriously, and unfortunately, it does not seem like a massive priority.
It's not. I mean, and again, of course, the reporting, everything was always, allegedly. There's claims that, until someone is guilty, that's all it'll ever be. It's just claims, right? But there's movies, there's articles. Where there's smoke, there is fire. And for years, when the same conversation keeps happening in different instances, but the elements and the things that make them all common are just that, the same and common, there has to be, beyond a smidgen of truth to what's happening. There has to be. How else can you chalk it up? What else can you chalk it up to? Yeah. Really?
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.